All right. Hi, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to the GitLab 17.2 release kickoff call. I'm Mike Floten. I'm VP of Product Management here at GitLab. I am super excited to be joined by a fabulous cast of characters today. We're going to talk about all the great stuff we have planned coming for you in 17.2. So you're going to hear from Derek Ferguson, who's going to talk about improvements coming in dev. Jackie Porter is going to talk about CI/CD. Sarah Meadsinger is going to be talking about sec. Taylor McCaslin is going to talk about data science. And Dylan Areno is going to be talking about core platform. Now, on planning, just as a reminder, we plan ambitiously here at GitLab, so it's important to note that the information presented is for informational purposes only. As with all projects, the items mentioned in this presentation and link pages are subject to change or delay. The development, release, and timing of products, features, functionality remains at the sole discretion of GitLab, so please don't rely on any of this information for purchasing or planning purposes. So with that out of the way, I'm pleased to talk about what you're going to hear thematically today. So as a reminder, our investment themes this year: we're enabling AI ML efficiencies across the DevSecOps lifecycle. You're going to hear a lot about that in this one. I'm super excited. We're going to talk about driving use case adoption to fully realize value. We're working on differentiating on the DevSecOps platform, so we'll be talking about that. And we're going to be talking about strengthening our SaaS deployments and capabilities. So without further ado, I'm going to hand things off to our first presenter, Derek, who's going to be talking about dev.
Thanks, Mike. And let me get my screen shared here. All right. So, yeah, first up, we've got the observability group. So currently, the team is working on integrating cloud connectors so that self-managed customers can utilize observability features like logs, traces, and metrics from their own self-managed instance with data hosted remotely on GitLab.com. This removes the need for customers to manage their own ClickHouse cluster, simplifying platform infrastructure and lowering total cost of ownership. All right, next, the knowledge group is working on allowing changes to a wiki title without changing the wiki URL. Currently, the URL of a wiki page changes when you change the associated title, and this causes the inbound links to break. So in 17.2, we're working on an improvement that will allow users to freely adjust titles without that concern or losing track of their valuable information stored in GitLab wiki pages. The Optimize group is working on several things related to the AI Impact Dashboard. First, we'll be working on adding a Duo Pro seats tile so that customers can quickly see how many of the Duo Pro seats they bought have been assigned and used. This will help customers stay on top of active usage of Duo Pro and understand their seat utilization much more efficiently. We're also working on user experience improvements in both the display information and the user flow. Lastly, the team is working on adding a label filter for the Value Streams dashboard report generator so that you can customize your views according to your specific needs and preferences. Our project management team is working on moving our AI issue discussion summarization out of experimental and into beta. Improvements for the beta release include multiple bug fixes and architecture updates, as well as integrating the functionality into Duo Chat. We'll also be working on adding the ability to move work items between different projects and subgroups. This allows for easier and more efficient ways of managing issues, requirements, and eventually epics across projects and groups. On the same topic of work items, the product planning group is introducing two new quick actions, /blocked by and /blocks, so that you can quickly add bidirectional relationships between work items to show in which order the items need to be resolved. So moving on to editor extensions, the team has been working on adding additional open tabs within an IDE to improve the context of code suggestions. This helps the AI models provide more accurate suggestions to developers. Now, currently, this functionality is only going to be available on our VS Code, Visual Studio, NeoVim extensions, but JetBrains support is coming very soon. So this will be rolled out to everyone incrementally throughout the 17.2 milestone. Next, the team is working on improvements for both VS Code and JetBrains IDE extensions. For VS Code, we'll be allowing users to disable code suggestions for specific languages. This allows you to completely customize which languages offer you code suggestions. We're also making it more convenient to adjust language support by introducing a command to add or remove languages to the editor, which iterates on the current process, which is quite a bit more involved. We're also working on streamlining the VS Code authentication workflow to make it easier to get your IDE authenticated to GitLab. And then for JetBrains, we'll be working on adding support for the user-defined languages list, mirroring what we've already done in VS Code to expand language support. The team's also working towards enabling OAuth within the extension so that users won't be limited to using a personal access token to authenticate to GitLab. Next up, the code creation team is working on introducing a /fix command into Duo Chat so that Duo can automatically analyze the selected source code, explain any problems with it, and suggest fixes. We're also working on improving the latency of code completion requests by re-architecting how code suggestions are requested and delivered. So our source code group has been working with some community members to add pure SSH-based protocol support for Git LFS. This enables Git LFS to attempt to use SSH for uploading and downloading LFS objects, and it'll fall back to using HTTP if it isn't able to use SSH. The team is also going to be rolling out group-level protected branches. So this adds a group-level setting to specify a string for protected branches that will apply to all projects within that group. So when it's set, any branch in a child project with a name that matches the string or wildcard will be protected. And then finally, with the code review team, we'll be rolling out the ability to block merge requests when a reviewer has requested changes. This allows reviewers to ensure that their requested changes have been seen and resolved before the MR is merged. And then lastly, the team has also been working on a feature to automatically merge MRs when all the required checks have passed. So in 17.2, we'll be working towards adding an MR to a merge train when all the checks have passed to iterate on the current functionality of adding to a merge train when the pipeline succeeds. And with that, I will pass it over to Jackie to cover the CI and CD sections.
Thank you so much, Derek. I really need to step up my tab organization game. You did a really great job on that. And also, I'm excited about their merge train feature improvements. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in my group here. First off, my name is Jackie Porter. I'm a director of product over CI section, and I'm going to be focusing on the work coming out of the CI/CD areas, which support developers, platform engineers, effectively completing their automation and configuration tasks in GitLab after they submit code. The three groups are going to be the verify, package, and deploy teams. And we're really going to be working to make your lives easier in the 17.2 release. Our main theme that we're really concentrating on is going to be drive use case adoption to fully realize value, where we have most of our teams making some great contributions. First up, that merge train visualization improvements. Let me zoom in here is a design that we're working on to help enable our users to move forward with a visualization that helps people to interact with merge trains in a really well orchestrated way. So today there isn't a visualization for merge trains. So if you have a car or MR on a merge train, you really don't know where it is in the sequence. So what we're exploring in this design is to have a visualization in the merge train where now you can remove that MR from the merge train. You can also filter by deployment branch, and you can see where that MR is in the sequence. This gives people better visibility into that merge train, and it will be a really great time saver for our merge train users. Really excited about this feature that we're exploring in our pipeline execution group and expecting to ship in 17.2. Next up, our runner group is investing in the portfolio of executors and plugins to GA, including Google Compute Engine Fleeting plugin and other plugins. And in 17.2, the group will move the AWS Fleeting plugin to GA. This will allow customers who run CI/CD at scale to choose when to auto-scale runners on virtual machines hosted on top public cloud providers. And now customers can efficiently run hundreds, thousands of CI/CD jobs to runner worker VMs within a container. This will be a really nice quality of life improvement. Next up, what's a DevSecOps platform without runtime security? Well, in this milestone, our pipeline security team is going to allow users to customize their JWT subclaims to expand the existing OIDC solution. This helps strengthen our security posture of authentication mechanisms within our existing workflows, which will be a nice security quality life improvement with our current feature set. And as a DevSecOps platform, we know supporting critical use cases for platform engineers is paramount. So our package group will be adding to the Terraform module registry UI a README support, enabling better details and transparency. So there's sharing and documentation of the practices from within the Terraform module. Last but not least, we're going to be making some improvements to the theme of enable AI/ML efficiencies across DevSecOps. The pipeline execution group will be working dutifully to move our root cause analysis feature to general availability by benchmarking responses, improving usability, and hardening the feature overall. We're so excited to make this high-quality Duo experience possible for our users. This is not a comprehensive list of all the things we're going to be delivering out of this groups really in 17.2. So please take a moment to review kickoff videos, direction pages if you're interested in learning more. That wraps it up for CI/CD sections. I'll pass it over to Sarah to present all the goodness for the sec section.
Thank you. The sec section is comprised of 2 stages, secure and govern. We focus on enabling customers to identify and remediate security flaws in their applications and APIs, and ensuring it's easy to make sure those APIs and applications are compliant with various compliance standards. First up, our static analysis group is working on real-time SAST results in the IDE. And we know that this helps shift security left even further to identify vulnerabilities and reduce the cost associated with remediating them. We're also extending GitLab Advanced SAST to Java and Go. And Advanced SAST is static analysis, which discovers vulnerabilities by performing cross-function and cross-file taint analysis. So we know this is really going to help us have the most accurate SAST results that we can. The composition analysis team is extending scanner coverage by adding dependency scanning support for Swift and Rust support for license scanning. They're also working to incorporate EPSS scores. The EPSS score is the exploit prediction scoring system, which estimates the probability of a software vulnerability being exploited in the wild in the next 30 days. And incorporating this will enable customers to prioritize dependency remediation efforts based on risk. The dynamic analysis group is adding additional active checks to DAST, starting with CWE 384 session fixation. So this will help identify whether a malicious actor could hijack a user's session using your web app. And we're also working through various discovery spikes to determine how to approach API discovery. API discovery is a new capability that will allow us to identify APIs and automatically generate open API specs, which can be used to adopt API security testing automatically. The secret detection team is adding the ability to include remote custom rule sets, which will make it easier for administrators to manage rules or detections or secret patterns across their organization rather than at the project level. So today, if you want to replace an entire secret detection rule set, you can do that at the project level, but this will extend that to higher levels like group or organizations. We'll also be collecting feedback from the secret push protection beta and bringing that in and making additional enhancements as we bring the feature to GA and make it available for our self-managed customers. Push protection enables you to block secrets from being pushed into your source code before they're merged, which helps reduce remediation efforts in general. Our Threat Insights team is bringing a couple of AI features to general availability. So they'll be available in GitLab Duo chat. That That includes vulnerability explanation and vulnerability resolution. And the team is also adding the ability to filter the vulnerability report by identifier. Identifiers include things like CVE, CWE, and OWASP IDs, which will, again, help customers prioritize their remediation efforts. Our security policies team is working on the GA release of pipeline execution policy type, which allows for the enforcement of custom CI jobs, scripts, or other instructions across all projects scoped by the policy. And this GA feature iterates on the existing experimental action available today within the scan execution policy type by introducing a net new policy type for this capability. Our authorization team is continuing work related to custom roles. So they're wrapping up efforts to help organizations reduce the number of users with the owner or maintainer role by adding permissions for managing runners and protected branches to custom roles. Today, group owners and project maintainers have the ability to manage runners and protected branches, and this often leads to a user who is overprivileged, where they may not need other group or project destructive permissions. So this enhancement will allow you to create a custom role and set the permission with least privileged access. And the team is also adding better visibility with permissions attached to custom roles. So they're going to add a new view within the GitLab UI to reduce confusion and eliminate the need to troubleshoot who has access to what. Our compliance group is building the ability to add multiple compliance framework labels on a single project. So the compliance framework labels identify that your project has certain compliance requirements, and these labels can be used optionally to enforce compliance pipelines. But currently, compliance frameworks are at a one-to-one relationship with the project. And by enabling multiple compliance framework labels to apply to our project, compliance teams will more easily be able to ensure that applications adhere to all of the compliance standards they're subject to. And with that, I'll pass it over to Taylor to talk about data science.
Awesome. Thanks, Sarah. Hi, everyone. My name is Taylor McCaslin, and I'm a group manager of product for the data science section. Everything we work on supports the theme of enabling AI ML efficiencies across DevSecOps. Let's talk about the AI-powered stage, which helps GitLab build generative AI into GitLab Duo, helping customers increase productivity and efficiency. We'll start with Duo Chat. This group is working on post-GA work to expand the context of Duo Chat to more content types. The team has identified that chat users tend to have the perception that chat is omniscient and all-knowing. Today, chat has limited context on issues, epics, GitLab documentation, and single code files. We're digging into ways to help users understand when chat doesn't know something, rather than just having it decline to answer. Additionally, we're expanding chat to support merge requests so that you will be able to ask questions like summarize an MR or other relevant questions about MRs. Additionally, the team is analyzing new response time data to improve how quickly chat responds to slow queries. Next, let's talk about AI framework. The team is working on improvements to our AI governance controls, allowing customers to enable or disable AI features on sensitive projects. Previously, we supported GraphQL queries for some of these controls, and in 17.2, we're introducing a new UI to manage these rather than having to do a GraphQL query. This will work at the top group level, the subgroup level, and project level. This will also be the first step in our unified AI settings project, which will bring all of our Duo AI settings together under one page, which will be a major usability win that's going to happen over the next couple of milestones. Additionally, the framework team is working on a number of features to support the release of Duo Enterprise, a new offering that we recently announced. If you are interested in Duo Enterprise, I encourage you to join our GitLab 17 event next week to learn more about Enterprise and our AI across the software development lifecycle. Next, moving to custom models. This team is enabling customers to self-host large language models to power GitLab Duo as part of Duo Enterprise. This will enable customers with strict security and privacy controls, as well as highly regulated industry and government customers to adopt GitLab Duo. This release, the team is iterating on their initial experimental release of self-hosted custom models for code suggestions and allowing customers to power code suggestions with Google's open source CodeGemma models. Additionally, the team is working on initial support for Duo Chat, powered by Mistral's Mixtral model series, so that you can use chat in a self-managed environment as well. And then finally, the model validation team is working to help evaluate AI models to ensure GitLab Duo features have high quality results. And they're focused on building data sets and supporting the GA of explain and resolve these vulnerability features. So helping ensure that those features are using the highest quality models and that the results from those features are also high quality. That wraps it up for the data science section, and I'll pass it to Dylan to talk about core platform.
Thank you, Taylor. Awesome features for GitLab Duo, and I'll continue the momentum here with talking about what we're doing as well. Core platform, we support GitLab as a whole, I would say, as a platform itself, as well as features that support many of their teams within GitLab. So moving on to some of the areas that we are working on today. We are working to enable AI and ML efficiencies, just like Taylor is working on, as well as strengthening our SaaS deployments. And then I'm going to mention some other core platform work that we're working on in 17.2. So working on what we're working, or moving towards what we're working on in 17.2 as it relates to enabling AI and ML efficiencies. Our Cloud Connector team, as Taylor also alluded to, is supporting Duo Enterprise, as well as the onboarding experience. And our global search team is working on hybrid search for issues and our support of Elasticsearch. So moving towards what we're working on for the Cloud Connector team and Duo Enterprise. As I mentioned, we're working to support a release of Duo Enterprise. So that's the main thing that they're working on in 17.2. But another thing that we're working on is allowing customers to have confidence in what they're configuring for their self-managed instance. So one of the problems that we're hearing is that at times, it's maybe unclear if the setup is correct or complete. And so what we'd like to do is make sure that they have confidence in the AI features that they're configuring within their GitLab instance. Moving on to global search. One of the terms that might have been mentioned before, but we're working on hybrid search results. A hybrid search result is using our current keyword match search results as well as semantic results to broaden the context that we are giving to users. And so we want to expand that to a couple different areas. And the first one we're working on is within issues. Another piece that we're working on for our global search team is, as I mentioned, moving towards Elasticsearch for some of our largest data sets. One of those would be merge requests. So what we're doing is using a general builder to build search results before or when we're querying to allow us to essentially handle these larger data sets. And this is going to require us to do this refactor. So there's a number of issues within this Elasticsearch framework update. And so merge requests is an example here. So moving on to how we're supporting our SaaS deployments. One thing I do want to mention for the distribution team is that we are updating our GitLab images to UBI Micro, which is a distroless dataset, distroless distribution. And so it basically makes our images smaller. And when we make our images smaller, there's a lot of efficiency that we can gain across the board and additional security updates that we gain by switching to a smaller image. Basically, if there's less in the image, there's less opportunity for there to be security vulnerabilities, as well as our move to UBI 9 with our images. So moving on to the other things I want to mention for our core platform work is our design systems team, including moving to design tokens in our GitLab UI components, personal productivity team working on solution validation for our notification center improvements, as well as a tenant scale team for project namespace model organizations. So I know we're running out of time here, so I'm going to move quick. So we talked about components in dark mode, and now we're moving to page and pattern level designs for dark mode. Essentially, with mentioning these using design tokens GitLab UI components, adopting design tokens allows us to move much more quickly in our adoption of dark mode. So this is very exciting work that we're working on in 17.2 for the design team. And moving to the notification updates, you can see some improvements here. I would encourage you to take a look at these design improvements within the issues on the kickoff issue. But there's a lot of interesting things we're doing here, such as new ideas for actions that would include filtering for just to-dos, as well as taking a look at the ability to snooze notifications for one day or multiple days or whatever you'd like. As well as some improvements to our organization. Essentially, moving to organizations is going to require us to have a requirement for project and namespaces to have a organization defined. So moving to the last piece here of work I want to mention, the Git Elite team is supporting the Git project upstream. And so there's a number of issues you can take a look at. The import team is looking to improve our user contribution mapping. And the Geo team is working to improve our unified backups and logical replication for org mover. So as we move to a more scalable backend and architecture for GitLab.com with cells and organizations, the Geo team is there to support that switchover. So you could take a look at some of these other items that I was going to mention here, but I think we're about at time. So I'll pass it back to Mike to close us out.
Awesome. Thanks, Dylan, and thanks to everybody. There is so much great stuff coming in 17.2. I think, as Jackie and a few others pointed out, there's tons more detail in the linked epics and issues and videos. So do check those out because there's more things we weren't able to talk about here. On that theme, it's basically impossible for me to pick some favorites in terms of what we heard, but I'll try anyway. There's so much great AI stuff going GA this milestone. Like, that's so exciting. In dev, I loved hearing about code suggestions, iterations, as always. Love that we're moving work items across projects and groups. Very exciting. CI/CD, the root cause analysis for pipelines going GA is incredible. So exciting there. In sec, I love that we're GAing vulnerability explanation and resolution. Just really amazing features of AI across the entire DevSecOps lifecycle. Data science, I got to give the team credit for the epic name, meeting user expectations that chat should know everything and anything. Incredible. I told you we planned ambitiously here at GitLab. That's proof right there. Plus the work on self-hosted customer models, like that's really game-changing, I think, for those customers. So very exciting. And Dylan brought us home. I think cloud connecting onboarding is awesome. And as a security enthusiast, I loved hearing about reducing our attack surface by moving to UBI micro and distroless. So I want to thank you all for joining in. I know we say it every once in a while, but I actually really mean it when I say I think this might be our best release ever, and I can't wait to see it get implemented and